Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to On Track GP. We've a bit of an early video for you this morning because, of course, this morning, or depending where you are in the world, last night, Visa Cash App RB launched their first F1 card, VCARB 01, and my God, it looks good. What a colour combination. We have Jamie here again with me this morning to discuss all about the new team, the new car, and the drivers. Jamie, how are you?
Very well, Quillen. How are you doing today?
Yeah, not too bad. That 6:30 early start has me going a bit rough, but
Nothing that
I'm
caffeine can't fix.
no, of course. So the VCARB 01, lovely new paint scheme for the team. What do you think?
I love it. It's got real STR look to it. Very evocative of like we're going in a different direction with this. In the back of my mind, I was like, is this going to be a dark blue with red and gold? Is this going to be like just essentially another Red Bull car? And it's not. It looks great as like the STR 12, 13, 14 era with the bold blue, nice bit of red, and a great sort of white panels. Love it. And it looks smart. It looks great. And where we've been really underwhelmed with the launches so far, teams either saving weight because of paint or going with the carbon fiber as like the 2024 look. This is a real change in direction, and I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's kind of like the team saw this trend of just carbon fiber and took it personally. Like, we're not doing that, but it looks great. Yeah. So obviously, as we mentioned, the launch was technically last night in Las Vegas. They're 10:30 p.m. their time, and it seemed to be a pretty big event. You know, people like Kendrick Lamar there doing a bit. You know, you had different celebrities. You had in this massive area. I'm not sure where it was, but I seen behind the scenes shots, and it looked absolutely massive, like a really big event. Do you think this is kind of like a subtle way of the team kind of saying, you know, we're no longer this sister team or this junior team of Red Bull. This year, we're kind of really going for proper results?
Yeah, a private launch event of that size is a declaration for sure. I feel like there's so much about this is Red Bull 2.0 and stepping out of the shadows of what is essentially the sister / parent team. So this is a start of a big thing, I think, for VCARB this year, or VCARB, or whatever we're going to call it. Red Bull. But I think it was a great launch, and there was a good balance as well from what it looked like. It wasn't like this. It wasn't like with Stake, where it was like this huge drawn out thing and then pull the curtain back. It wasn't like Haas, where it's like, here's a render. So like there was stuff there where I was really happy to see, and the little stuff that we do know about the car looks exciting. But the actual launch itself, I think this is declaration time of we're not here to make up the numbers. We're here for top 5.
Yeah, definitely. Talking about the car, you know, my initial look at it this morning, and I kind of seen like side-by-side comparison since to the car last year when it launched. And the one thing that struck me about this car was the new kind of like side pods. They're very streamlined. The whole car, the rear ring, everything looks a lot more streamlined, a lot more focused this year. And, you know, when you have people like Joey Egginton and, of course, Lauren Meckies as the new team principal this year, you know, what type of season are you expecting for them? And are you pleased with the way the car looks? Do you think it's an improvement?
I think the staff and the car are big improvements this year. Lauren Meckies is, I mean, he's got big boots to fill. But in saying that, he comes with great pedigree and has got, I think, a great idea of where he wants to take, I'm going to say it, Toro Rosso this year, Alpha Tauri, Minardi. But I think bringing the team to a complex near a Red Bull is a big part of this, because they. What I don't want to see is an RB 19.5 and a couple of RB 20 parts on an RB 19, and it's painted blue and red. I do want it to be slightly different, but the side pods, this is a recurring thing with the cars we've seen in the launches so far. They look aggressive. They look very streamlined. I think we're going to see a lot of teams moving towards this aggressive side pod design. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see what happens with Ferrari and Red Bull towards the end of the launches. But this for me is a recurring thing, because I think the aerodynamic and ground effect is so big with these ground effect cars that they have to force that air up and over the sides and get it back down under the car. I'm sure the FIA have been talking about the dirty air stuff as well, and there's probably been a lot of work done on that. But in saying that, dirty air helps if you're in front. So I think Lauren Meckies is going to be a great addition to AlphaTauri, and they look like they're setting their stall out very early. The pull rod system at the front of the car, I think that's going to be a massive help for Daniel Ricciardo. His style of driving, that's going to be big. A much more stable front end will be a big part. I mean, I don't pretend to be an engineer, but I did read up on the pull rod system, and I mean, I tried to bore you with it in the studio a couple of weeks ago, but I'm actually really excited about it. And from a technical standpoint, for the team as a whole, I think they're going to be really competitive based on the fact that the car and the back of house team are that much stronger this year.
Yeah, that's a great show. Actually, I completely forgot to mention that the pull rod suspension, that could be a really big thing for them. You know, and of course we mentioned the staff, we mentioned the car. One thing we haven't mentioned yet is the drivers. Of course, Daniel Ricciardo and Yuki Tsunoda. Daniel, his first full season back since leaving McLaren, and of course Yuki's, I think, fourth season now in Formula One.
Yep.
What are you expecting from these guys? Are you expecting a general improvement from both of them over last year?
I made no secret of the fact that I thought Yuki was the best driver of the bunch last year, mostly because no consistency in partner. Liam Lawson came in and absolutely smashed it. Nick De Vries was non-competitive, and then you've got to come in with a guy who has previous with Red Bull to sort of be your teammate in Daniel Ricciardo. So for me, Yuki Tsunoda has done great, and I'm really excited for him this year, because it's kind of a win-win for him, because he's tied more into Honda than, let's say, Red Bull as a whole. It does seem to be that's the path for things. So if he has a great season, he either gets retained by VCARB, or wherever Honda go, he might be there. So I think it's a win-win for Yuki this year. And for Danny Rick, I'm hoping for somewhere near the Daniel Ricciardo of old, and hopefully, much like Alonso, we have like a resurgence in quality that hopefully we see from Daniel Ricciardo, and in a competitive car as well. I can see that happening. Both drivers, like, they don't have anything to lose by really going for it this year. They don't have to play it safe. Either the Red Bull team second driver is an option, or they've got options elsewhere if they have a good season. So both of them are in a good position.
Do you think do you see Daniel anywhere else apart from Visa, Cash App, RB, or even Red Bull next year? Because to be honest with you, I can't picture him being in another team outside the Red Bull stable anymore.
No, I think McLaren was a great example of the fact that he doesn't fit. I read somewhere you need a very good engineer to get the best out of Daniel Ricciardo, and understand how he drives and his mentality, his mindset. So I think that'll be a big thing. Equally, there aren't many options for him. And if he doesn't want to go anywhere lower than a top 5 team, and bear in mind, he didn't want really to go to AlphaTauri during last season anyway. It was only because the position presented itself. I don't see him going anywhere else. I don't see any team being happy to bring him in either. I think every other team has options that are either younger, stronger, or are tied down to a contract. And so for this is the last chance saloon for Daniel Ricciardo in that sense. But he could stay at VCARB and have a great couple of seasons. I personally don't see him in the Red Bull second seat. After it, either Perez has a great year, or they bring in someone like a Lando Norris, or because they got the money to buy him out of his seat at the end of the day. As much as McLaren have jumped the gun, but Carlos Sainz again might be one. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. Also, like Yuki Tsunoda, I think he's been really good, and he has options as well. So I think he has more options than Daniel Ricciardo going into this season.
Yeah. Well, of course, Tsunoda linked very, very closely to Aston Martin when they changed the Honda in 2026. So it'll be an interesting season, I think.
It's going to be great, and I really genuinely hope, much like the fight for 5th, 6th, 7th this year, I'm hoping for a bigger concertina of the grid this year, especially 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, shall we say? And yeah, I would love Alpine to be catching Aston Martin, and for AlphaTauri to be in that as well. We've already found out that Haas are not going to. Hopefully, it's not true, but the VS24 is not competitive. So where we've got Stake and Haas and Williams, I hope they all concertina up. So they're more competitive with Aston Martin. And then obviously my outside hope is that McLaren, Mercedes, Ferrari and Red Bull are all much closer this year.
Well, let's wait and see. So that's it. That's 5 cars down now. 5 to go next week with some big heavy hitters next week. Aston Martin, Mercedes, McLaren, Red Bull, and of course Ferrari too. So yeah, let's wait and see what the rest of the grid come out with for 2024. So Jamie, thank you very much for joining me this early morning. Hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
No worries. And make sure, guys, as always, keep it locked and loaded here on Track GP. We'll keep you up to date with all the remaining reviews, should I say, that's left to come. And of course, pre-season testing and the race towards the end of the month. So see you there, guys. Have a great day. Thank you.
See you later, guys. Bye-bye.